All right, welcome back to the Leaf to Lights On podcast with your host, Nicholas Principe.
And Luca Tersini.
Now, we did miss last week, and we are very sorry for that. But we're here today with a bounce back episode, kind of like the Leafs bouncing back. We're going to get into the Leafs' last 7 games. We're not going to talk about all of them in full description and everything, because 7 games is a lot to talk about. But we're just going to give a premise, a little basis, and then talk about what we think needs to be talked about. So let's start from that Kings game that we not missed, but haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
So 6-2 against the Kings. Overall, I mean, like, you know what? You can start, because I feel like I start a lot of these podcasts. I think you should start on this one.
To be honest, it was a while back.
Yeah.
But all I remember is just, like, domination. I remember this game in particular because I think we were up by, was it 5 or even maybe 6, and we gave up the 2 goals quick in the third period, and Berube called that timeout, kind of saying, boys, the hell are we doing? Let's calm down. So that was kind of cool from that, but really, like, other than that, it was another solid game that we had, and we were on a roll at that point, right? So, I don't know, there's really not much to say. It was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
So, those are my thoughts on it. I think it was just domination.
Well, we went into that game with 2 wins and a loss, I believe. Yeah, 2 wins and a loss. We then lost to the Rangers the game after. So I should touch on the Kings. Like you said, it was a very dominating game. We didn't really show too much, lack of awareness and lack of defensive prowess and stuff until that third period that you said where we allowed those 2
5
quick
minutes
goals.
Or whatever, yeah.
But then Berube did the right thing, which is what, I don't know if Keefe really did this before, but settle down the team and give them shit because, sorry for my language, but give them shit because the Kings are not a great team. They have solid players, but you allow those quick goals and momentum can take you anywhere, right? Momentum can, like we saw last night with San Jose. They scored 3 goals.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, huh?
Winnipeg.
No, not Winnipeg. San Jose. Jose scored,
the other game.
Yeah,
okay,
San Jose scored 3 goals against Utah in a minute 35 and then won the game in overtime.
Yeah.
Right? Shows how much momentum can do. So to slow down that momentum and lock your team back in with giving them the shit that they need to hear, it was good. And, we finished out the rest of that game solid. I think it was 5-0 and then they scored the 2. But either way, right? We finished the rest of the game solid.
You want to see that. You want to see the coaching actually, like, do
coach
its job, right? Yeah, settle down the team. Because last thing about the Kings game, because we got a lot of games to talk about, but when something like that happens, we're used to that. We're used to the Leafs giving up, like what happened last night. We'll get into that, obviously. But we're used to seeing this team give up 1 or 2 goals and then kind of shut down and then let the other team kind of claw back into the game. So Berube kind of giving them shit, like you said, part of my language, but it's true. You want to see that. You want to see that, right?
So after that Wednesday game, the next week was a bit rocky for the Leafs. I think every Leafs fan was questioning themselves, the team, everything during this point because those 4 games after, we were 1-3. Right?
Yeah, we did not do good. And
I don't know. The Rangers game, I don't think, like I said, there was no. Sorry, I didn't say this up anyway at all. But we didn't play bad by any standards.
No.
Right? It's just it was like the Canadiens game. We just couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. Shesterkin was on a mad thing that game, playing out of his skin, but we just couldn't get the puck in. And we still had like 40-something shots, like 30-something shots. Like it's not like we were lackluster. We played a very solid game.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
That's the thing, especially when you run into one of the best goalies in the league who's asking for like $11 million.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Games like that are going to happen. Like, I know they won 4-1, but it was 2-1. They scored 2 empty netters, right?
Yeah.
It's a close game. From that point on, I felt that we played good even in our losses, like against Montreal, right? Against the Rangers. We played good. Just sometimes, again, you run into a hot goalie. But you know what the thing is? I hate using that as an excuse. Because, again, I don't want to harp on this too much, but we had power plays in that game. Can't score on the power play.
Yeah.
Right? Still can't score on the power play. I said this to, I can't remember who I said this to, but I was talking to, it was probably my buddies or something, and I'm like, from that point on, we still hadn't scored a good power play goal. Because against the Kings, we actually broke our power play list streak, or whatever, our goalless streak, scoring the 5th and 6th goal. But I'm like, dude, like, does that really count? Like, you
Yeah.
still don't score power play goals when it matters. Like, we were up in the game. I know they came back, they scored those 2 goals, but the game was already done, right? They still hadn't scored power play goals, and we're still struggling, right? So it was, I don't know. They got to fix that. But again, overall, yeah. It was just one of those games, like the Habs game. You just run into a hot goalie. That's going to happen. Just don't like using that as an excuse, but...
Yeah, like you said, 4-1 wasn't the actual scoreline, let's be honest. It was a 2-1 game.
Exactly.
Both teams played very well, just New York came out on top. You did touch on the power play, and I do want to talk about it because they made changes for last night's game for the power play. But we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
But the power play has been very lackluster, and we need a spark. We need something going on that because in all, I don't want to say all other facets, but in all other facets, we're quite solid, right? Like, our goaltending is, not where it needs to be, but it's getting there. Our defense is absolutely getting there, right? Our forechecking's getting there. Our forwards are getting there. Right? Look, we're not just relying on 4 guys anymore to get us points, or the 3 guys up front, right? Our whole team was producing.
Yeah.
Until, actually, no, because then we moved into the Lightning game. Yeah, which then, another good game, right? Tampa, a very, very good team.
Yeah.
And we
very good game.
Outclassed them, I would say.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't say that Tampa played bad, but I do believe, obviously by the scoreline, but I do believe that we very well deserved to win that game. We just played a lot better than they did. It was I don't want to say pure domination, but domination.
To be honest, though, like, for most of the game, it was pretty much domination from the Leafs. Like, I remember, like, even in the third when we were up 5-2 or whatever it was, like, they're just keep pressing. Like, they didn't stop. It wasn't like last year or, like, whatever, other games where it's like, yeah, we're up by a lot. Let's kind of pull it back a little bit. Let them come back in the game, right? That never really happened. Like, I think for most of the game, it's like domination. And even when they didn't need to bring it, which is never the case, but they still brought it, right? So you want to see that, especially against Tampa, because they're a team in your division. They're a team you're going to be fighting against for that third or second or even wild card spot, no matter where
possible
we finish.
First round matchup.
Yeah, right? So you always want to win these games, right? And, like, again, the big guys came to play. Like, Nylander finished with 3 points. Marner, 2. Got 2 assists there. Dominey assist. Nyes even scored a nice goal. That's the guy we got to get into later. We got to extend that guy immediately, please.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the contract now.
Yeah, we'll get into
that. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But yeah, no, I don't want to go too much into it. It was a great game. I think it was probably my favorite game so far out of all of them.
I would agree. I would say that yesterday's game would have been my favorite game. One, because, we'll obviously we'll talk about it, but one, because it was the best team in the league so far. Undefeated.
Yeah.
Until we started giving up the goals, which we'll talk about. But yeah. And then we don't know what really happened. We ended up facing Columbus and St. Louis. And we got smacked. Like,
yeah, that Columbus game was...
I really don't know what happened. Like what broke down? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, our goalie couldn't make it. It was Hildeby. Hildeby, unfortunately, couldn't make a save that game. No, all credit to him. Like, he still played okay, but he just very unlucky and couldn't make a save. Like, there's not much else you could really say.
He didn't play good, but it also doesn't help that our team gave up, like, literally 17 2-on-1s that game. Like, I remember every time I looked up at the screen, Columbus is on 2-on-1. I'm like, what are we doing here? But let me ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
I know you said before you expected the Leafs to win the game. But did anybody actually expect us to at least not have trouble if we did win this game? Like, let's be honest. We all thought this was a different team, right? And I still do. I still think that they're playing different hockey. But going into Columbus on a back-to-back, when you beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have been a great team, right? I didn't expect to get smoked. But all I'm going to say is I wouldn't be surprised if we lost that game. And I would have been fine with it because I would understand. We're playing good. We're going to lose games.
Yeah.
It sucks that we're kind of losing to easier opponents that we should beat because these games are going to bite us in the ass come April, right?
Exactly.
That's why I always say, I'm like, it's like, oh, it's so early in the season. Like, why do you care about points? Like, it's still early in the season. I'm like, yeah, if we lose against good teams, I understand, like the Rangers. But if we're getting smoked by teams like Columbus, who we should easily get the 3 points from, 2 points from, holy soccer, or like even a point,
Yeah.
and then we blow it. But yeah, we'll kind of sum those two up together because they were kind of the same game. There's not really much to talk about. We sucked in both of them.
Very much so.
That one was a disgrace. The St. Louis one, Berube's old team, I personally thought they were going to come out flying. They didn't.
Yeah. They really
But
didn't. Yeah,
what do you got on
that Blue Jackets game, like you said, I'll be honest, I didn't go into it expecting them to win. As a hockey person, I would expect them to win because team on team basis, everything, like just looking at pure players and class and everything, like you would expect Toronto to win. But like you said, coming off a back-to-back against arguably a team that's been the best in the league for the last 5 years, right? 5 to 10 years, arguably.
Yeah.
You know, it's understandable to come out and, you know, be a little bit sluggish, whatever. But to get blasted the way we got blasted, I was shocked. I was appalled. Like
because Tampa had a back-to-back too.
Mm-hmm.
When they played their game when we were playing Columbus the night after, they pumped who they were playing. I think they put up like 7 goals.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was crazy. I'm like, why can't we do that? Like, I know they lost the night before, but so it's it was like flipped.
Reverse, yeah.
But like, why can't we play like that against Columbus? Like Columbus, you know, all due respect to their team, obviously what happened, it sucks.
Yeah. R.I.P. Johnny Gaudreau.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, the score should be reversed, right?
Very, very much so. And it could exactly be said the same for the Blues game.
St. Louis,
like,
exactly.
Very, very terrible performance from everybody.
And that was Wall's first game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wall's first game.
I was, you know what? Like, we'll touch on Joseph Wall quickly. Like, I'm worried. I think I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm worried, man. I'm worried that he's not good. Because when you're a goalie, right, you can't be worrying about it. When you're a player, you can kind of worry about your hand a little bit or, you know, whatever. When you're a goalie, you cannot have any worries about anything else besides the puck in front of you.
Yeah.
And if he's still stressing, obviously, you know, it was an injury. It's been consistent injury. But if he's still going to be worried and stressing over that ankle injury, then he's not going to be our starting goalie because he's not going to be able to pull off the stuff that he would do with no care or no stress, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, like, it was in his hometown, right? You know, and like you said, Berube's first game against his former team, I thought we would come out flying. I honestly thought we were gonna put up at least 7 that game. Not at least 7.
Especially
sorry,
because
at
what
least
happened
6 that game.
The game before, right?
Yeah,
that's
you
why
know,
I
we got
might have
pumped.
thought. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, okay, we're coming up against the Blues, another mediocre team. Let's pump, right?
Yeah.
We could pump it. Wall, so much momentum in the mind, if you think.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Because of Wall and Berube, right? But like, we played like dog poo, dude. Like, it was really, really unfortunate.
It was definitely not a fun game.
And I felt
to
bad
watch.
for Wall, but you know what? I don't know if he's ready again to take the role back.
It is only, to be honest, it is only one game, but right now, it's Stolarz' net, like 150%.
As it should be.
As it should be, but not just because of like him maybe being afraid of injuries or not being 100% because he's just coming off another injury, right? Or the whole factor that maybe we shouldn't make this guy the starter because if he plays like 5 games in a row, he's gonna pull his leg again and be out for more time, right?
Yeah.
But I just think how Stolarz has played, it's his net.
Yeah.
For sure. And like I know Hildeby, the first game he played against whoever it was against, he played well. And then he came in against Columbus and but he played before. He played
Hildeby,
against New Jersey.
Against
New Jersey, right? He played good. And then Columbus, not too good. But again, he's young, he'll learn. But right now, it's Stolarz' net. Wall, I have to agree with you. I am a little bit concerned just because of the injuries alone. Mm-hmm. Because we all know if this guy is not injury prone, he is a really good goalie, he's right?
Good, yeah.
But if that whole injury thing comes into perspective, right, which is very key, right? Especially like you said for a goalie. I don't know. Like he can't be your starter. He can't, especially if Stolarz. Like if Stolarz was playing mediocre to under average, then I'd be like, well, you kind of got to make a decision here, right?
Yeah.
But since Stolarz has played, like, we'll get into this, but I think Stolarz played his worst game against Winnipeg yesterday night. But again, like most of the goals were on the power play. They're up.
Yeah.
They're power play goals, right? And that was his worst game. And he made big saves. Like I remember,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
get into it, but there was a Connor save, a Kyle Connor save that he made. It was amazing. Like off the line, right? It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it's still Lars' net. I don't think you can take it away from him.
No, I agree with that. I saw somebody say, I can't remember if it was Elliot Friedman or something, but they were like, could we see Stolarz become, challenge for the Vezina? Because he, as big of a claim as it is, right? The best backup in the league. He's 28 years old, right? Goalies tend to, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, goalies tend to blossom later.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
So a 28-year-old who just came off his probably best season of his career now has the chance to take the reins for a team who desperately needs a goalie. Don't get me wrong. His save percentage, especially after last night's game, isn't probably as high as it was last year, nor as high as we want it to be. But also, like, we're still winning those games, right? Some of them. We're still winning most of those games, a lot of those games. And it's also not like it's his fault that it's going in. Like you said, yesterday was his worst game, and he still played well.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know. You're so right when you say it's Stolarz' net to fight for, because I'm worried about Wall, and Heldeby's not starting. But let's just...
of course.
He's the
right.
backup. So, if you want to touch on those two, we then move into the Boston loss, which I'm okay with. I mean, we lost an OT. We scored with an empty net, right? I'm not upset at that game. We still got a point out of it, which is better than we can say about a Columbus or a Blues game.
Yeah.
But, I didn't find much to have a discrepancy on. Besides the Matthews play at the end?
Yeah, the before we get into that, the only thing I want to touch on again, because I could say it for all of the games, but I'm not, because I've already touched on it this podcast already, and I know it's going to get repetitive, but it needs to be said again. If our power play actually decides to work properly, we probably win that game.
Yeah.
Because there were 2 power plays minimum we had in that game where we look like absolute garbage. And then we'll get into why they made some changes. Mm-hmm. But they don't score. They don't score. And also, I can't lie, this game, even though Matthews and Marner got on the stat sheet a lot, all 3 of them did not play good.
No.
I'm sorry. Marner definitely was the best in that game. He made some flashy plays, like that pass across the ice to Matthews and the pass across the ice to Riley. Like, Marner definitely played the best out of that game. Nylander did not play well at all. And then, obviously, Matthews scored the game tire, and then he just decided to say, you know what, Boston, you can have the win, right?
Yeah. We got the point.
I don't know what he was doing. I really don't know who he was passing to. Because on that play, it looked like Marner was getting off, and Nylander was about to hop on, because I saw him standing up on the bench, but Matthews and whoever the defenseman was beside him, McCabe or whoever it was, Riley McCabe, whoever it was, I thought he was going to keep possession and let Nylander hop on.
Yeah,
But he just decided to ring it, not even ring it, just shoot it off the boards.
Just flip it.
Whatever he did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I see Marner still on the ice. I'm like, what play did you guys do?
Yeah.
Did you guys try to do a fake, Marner gets off and you just kind of send it up? I have no idea what they were doing on that play.
I think maybe, if you're looking at it like that, where the only thing you could say is, once Matthews flipped the puck up, Marner realized, oh crap, this isn't going anywhere. I need to get back, which would be understandable. But, I wouldn't even be surprised if they had something in mind like that.
Play. Don't ever do it again.
Yeah, please don't ever do it again.
Because that was terrible.
Unless you pull it off, then don't do it again. But it looks like you said, it was such a nonchalantly flipped pass.
It came out of nowhere.
Pass,
it came out of nowhere. 2 guys keep possession.
Yeah.
Make the one change Marner.
There was no
he was
pressure.
tired.
There was no pressure.
Yeah, he did not have to force that play.
The man to pass to. It's very confusing. I think maybe it might have been a set play between them two, not even something that the coach drew up. Just simply be okay, we're gonna fake a change. You you act like I'm going for the change, and I'm just gonna spring up ice, right?
Yeah.
Which, if it works, great, but it didn't work, and it cost us a point.
Yeah, it was worse than didn't work.
Yeah.
In a game,
skeef.
Especially against the Bruins, right?
Yeah.
You've always been
rival.
troubled by it, right? And you need to get points. We got the point. But at the end of the day, again, we didn't get smoked by them, which is good. But the thing is, you lose to the Bruins again. And your best players are the reason why you lose.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Right? Which you don't want to see. And by the way, Stolarz made a beautiful save on that overtime goal, the first one across when Pasternak faked it to Marchand or the other way around, whatever it was. But there's just, the guys are looking, huh? What do I do?
Yeah.
And Stolarz has to like dive, and it got stuck between his legs. I swear to God, they scored almost the exact same goal in overtime last year. In a regular season game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about game 7.
No. In a regular season game, I swear to God, somebody gave it away.
Yeah.
And it was a 2-on-1. And they had to there was a scramble in front, and I think it was also Marchand who just flicked it in. So I swear to God, there was
I
a
think
game
I
like that
remember
last
what
year.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I remember. I don't know if it was the Bruins, but I feel like I remember the game you were talking about.
I remember which one it was, I think. I think it was this one. We were down, and Matthews scored with like 4 seconds left, or under a minute. And then we just decided to just say screw it, and we gave them the win.
So
the
exactly
almost
like
the exact
this game.
same way.
Yeah, exactly like
I don't know
this
who
game.
gave it away, but yeah.
Well, like you said, we got a point out of it. It was all right. I'm not saying we should have won that game, because I don't think we should have won that game, to be honest
No.
with you. We didn't play great.
No.
To get a point out of it, I'll take. But we got to start getting points out of the games like the Blue Jackets, the Blues. Even just take it to overtime, man. Every time you play those, just take it over. Even if you're going to lose, just take it to
Get a
overtime.
point. Just
Yeah,
get
just
the
get
point.
a point.
That's what I always say.
And-
That's what I always say. Is if there's like 2 minutes left in the game, and whatever we score, like just get the point. Just secure the point.
Yeah.
Securing the point is better than losing in regulation and getting 0 points, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And keep repeating the same late goals that we see every single year.
And the last thing I want to say,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say it again, but I wanted to bring this up because I forgot to say it before. Our power play stinks, right? You watch the Boston power play. I know they didn't score on their first power play, but their second power play, Lindholm, Marchand, Pasternak scores.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Easy.
It was.
Why
it was
can't we
silky.
do that?
It was-
I don't understand why we can't do that.
We overpass.
Definitely.
Our break-ins are getting better. Don't get me wrong. Our break-ins into the zone are getting a lot better. They're that's the one thing that I noticed about the power play change is that we're not consistently running a 2-man break-in.
Yeah.
It's try the 2-man. If the 2-man doesn't work, take that one guy.
Yeah.
Bring it up. Make
Yeah.
the passes. And I'm glad that we're doing that because as good as we were on the power play last year, our entries were terrible. It's like once we left the zone, we weren't getting back in.
Yeah. No, it's true.
And
It's true.
you know who else's power play looked good, which then also does lead us into yesterday's game, was the Jets. Their power play destroyed us. But not even the fact that they scored. They were nice passing goals. Like Kyle Connor's first one, the one that he short side on Stolarz. The shot was amazing, but the passing leading up to it was
Yeah,
beautiful.
Shifley put that right
was
on Connor's stick.
Crisp
It was
passing.
beautiful.
We
It was
don't
beautiful.
have crisp passing on the power play. And we always just want that open net. We want that one-timer on the side. Like, just put it on net, man.
I know.
Like, let's just, like, now that we're talking about this game, I can talk about this. Johnny's first goal yesterday. Pacioretty's goal. Was it Pacioretty? No, they gave it to Johnny. So Johnny's first two
Yeah,
goals were scrums in front of the net. Nice's goal was a scrum in front of the net.
Willie's goal was a mix-up in front of the net, and
With-
Pacioretty made a nice
yeah,
pass.
Pacioretty with a
It
nice
was
pass.
all those type of goals.
Playoff hockey,
Yeah.
right? It's not good looking. Absolutely not good looking. But if the puck's in the net, the puck's in the net.
Goal's a goal.
Goal's a goal.
Goal's a goal.
Right? Like, why can't we do that on the power play with a man advantage? Put the puck on the net, cause the scrums, right? You've got Tavares there, which I think he was dropped to the second power play, but I don't know, because I saw him on with Nylander on the second power play. Tavares. But
Yeah,
I'm
because Nyes. Yeah, I think it was Tavares and Willie on
So,
the second. Yeah, it was.
yeah, so the first was Pacioretty, Matthews, Riley, Marner
Nyes.
and Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like because
like that.
I think it is gonna do exactly what we need to. We have too many guys that can shoot the puck, not enough guys to stand in front of the net. Nice will be that guy to stand in front of the net. Pacioretty's definitely that guy to stand in front of the net.
Yeah.
Like bro got 40 goals just by doing that.
Yeah.
So we gotta continue playing with just pucks on net, man. Simple hockey. Like we've been doing I've loved the way that we've played so far, barring the the 2 bad games, whatever. We're playing simple hockey
Yeah.
and just fundamental hockey. And even Bruber said it. He's like, I just want to play fundamental hockey because that's how you will win games. But play it on the power play too. Like I don't get what's so difficult. You have an extra guy.
That's the whole thing. Like you're up. We've seen them do it before, right? Like be good, and they just can't do it. Like I agree with what you said, and I agree with them splitting it up. It kind of makes it more balanced because then you have like Nylander on the second unit, which is kind of like in the Matthews role where he's the shooter, right? And then you have like Tavares and McMahon who are kind of like in front of the net kind of guys.
Tavares shooter more, McMahon in front of the net, but
Or whatever,
they
yeah.
vice versa. They
Yeah,
both can
right.
shoot, right? And then Domi also on that power play.
Domi, who's the playmaker, like Marner.
Yeah.
And then you have EOL at the point, which is fine, right? So I like how they split it up. We didn't score, but it looked good.
It looked better, in my opinion.
Just like I said in one of the last podcasts, it could look as good as it does.
Yeah.
But you still don't score.
Yeah.
You still don't score. I don't care if you get 5,000 shots. If you're not putting the puck in the net, it's not good because we've struggled.
Yeah.
If this is like a one-off and we put a lot of pucks on net, it was a good power play, then I'll be like, yeah, it was a good power play. But we've been struggling to score, so I don't care how good it looks. If it's not in the net, I don't care, right?
No, I agree with you. And
But
sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like the whole game, like you had the whole second line, which was also changed because Nylander really wasn't. He was kind of in a little bit of a slump. So I agree with Berube putting him with Tavares and Pacioretty. Actually, that's one of the lines I wanted to see.
I think that's one of the lines that we talked about before the season started.
Like kind of
actually.
the two veterans who play good together, and then you have Nylander, who you all know how Nylander can play when he's on his game, and they combined for 9 points.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Nylander 1 goal, 2 assists, Pacioretty 3 assists, and Johnny with the
Tavares.
Hattie.
Yeah.
Right. You can't get much better than that.
Yeah.
9 points on one line is crazy. Like that's good.
I
right?
think
So,
I think it's time for Bobby McMahon to take a step down from that second line.
Dude,
And I think it's a well-deserved step down.
I'm telling you.
I know
again-
how happy you are with this.
Again, he was playing well, but I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
What has he done after the Tampa game? Nothing.
Nada.
Nothing.
Nada.
He actually lost ice time in the last game against the Bruins because he gave up the puck in his own zone, leading to a goal. So he ended up playing like under like 10 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong with that, but he did get less ice time because he sucks.
Something I'm taking from Bobby McMahon is you can't put him with skilled players because
Can put him with anybody. No, I'm joking. But
no, I mean like he is a third line guy. I'm not gonna go as
that's all
far.
he is, man.
Listen, I'm not gonna go as far as saying he's a fourth line guy, but he's he's a hard forechecker, right? And he's got a decent shot. He can shoot the puck pretty well, right? It's not nowhere near Robertson Matthews levels.
He's a decent forechecker when he wants to be.
But that's what I mean. When you have him on a line with Nylander and Tavares or Matthews and Marner, which he didn't, but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's like, okay, I don't have to do as much because these guys are going to do everything and I'll maybe just benefit at the end. Whereas you put him on a third line where he's one of the more creative players.
Yeah.
Right? Not like Holmberg. Don't get me wrong, Holmberg's good, but in terms of scoring, I would take McMahon.
Yeah, of
Right?
course.
So where he becomes that necessity for scoring on that line, I think is a better fit for him because it gives him not more freedom because he would have more freedom playing with other players, but more freedom to do what he wants with the puck, right? Instead of feeling like, oh, I need to dish to Nylander here or I need to dish to Tavares here, right? It allows him to play that a little bit more freely, just in his head, right? So keep Pacioretty on this line. If Berube changes it for next game, what the hell are you thinking?
No,
9 points.
There's no way. There's no way.
I doubt it, right? I doubt that happens. And I also do like the fact that they switched up the power play. Now, people could say like, oh, you have two 40-goal scorers on your second power play. Why don't you put them on the first? And they'll be like, well, yeah, I got two 40-goal scorers on my second power play. Think about how dangerous I am now. I got a 100-point guy almost in Marner and a 69-goal scorer in Matthews on the first. And then I got two 100-point 40-goal scorers on the second one. Quarterbacked by Riley, who's been killing it recently, 2 goals in back-to-back games. And EOL, who's a statement of, quarterback power play. Right? He's a statement for quarterbacking a power play. And then you add in those pieces like Nyes and Pacioretty on the first line and Domi and McMahon on the third, on the second one.
Yeah.
And it adds that more versatility. And you're not just relying on the top 4 guys to get the goals again. Right?
No, it's completely true. Yeah.
I mean, it also means that we're not going to play our first power play for a minute 30 straight.
Well, that's the thing. We never did anyways.
No, we did, though. A lot of the times, especially with Keefe, maybe not Berube now, but especially with
Keefe, yeah, he
we
definitely
would play
played
that
the
first
first
power
unit.
play the whole game.
But you know what the thing is? Like, at the end of the last season and in the playoffs, they sucked. But I
Yeah.
seriously,
No,
but
you're right,
I
you're right.
wouldn't, I didn't mind him playing that first unit because they actually did their job.
Yeah.
So playing them for more than a minute, if they're still in the zone and scoring, that's fine. But now they're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
So now, yes, you have to change it up where, you get 2, we'll call them drives. And if you're out on the second one, second unit jumps on because, like you said, they have 30, 40 goal scorers on there too. Our second unit's almost as good as our first unit.
Yeah.
Right? How they split it up. It's balanced. And that's what I like. But again, they still haven't scored. I know it's only one game, but they still haven't scored. Right? You see the Jets' power play. Which I said this to you before. The Jets have the most underrated players ever. If 100%. Kyle Connor was in a bigger market, he would be known as one of the best goal scorers in the league. It's just he plays for Winnipeg. Yeah. That guy is automatic with goals.
Yeah. They pointed out yesterday where it was right before he scored his first goal. So it was still 4-0. And they whipped it across, and he was on the far side, so his closest side to the net.
Yeah.
Right? So he wasn't shooting short side.
And
he was skating backwards and one-timed it. And there's not many players in the league that can do that. Obviously, Matthews is one of them. But to get the power that and the accuracy, although it didn't go in, it just missed. But to get the power and the accuracy on a shot while you're moving backwards is ridiculous.
Yeah, you need to be a goal scorer to score those type of goals, and that's what he is.
His shot is
nuts. Like even Ehlers is probably one of the most underrated players in the league.
Even Scheifele. He's been in the league for so long, too. And he is so underrated in my opinion. Like,
even like you look at a guy like Morrissey. I would take Morrissey on the Leafs 10 times out of 10.
Oh, 100%.
Morrissey has been a good defenseman for a long time, and no one talks about him because he plays for Winnipeg.
Yeah, he's still young. He's only like
and they even have like guys like Adam Lowry, and
who's their captain?
And I hate Pionk, but
I really do hate Pionk.
I hate Pionk, but Pionk, and yeah, okay, fine. Hellebuck gets the coverage that he deserves, but still, they have all these players that I would take on my team. And I've always liked Ehlers. I've always thought Ehlers was an amazing player, which is true. I've always liked Ehlers, but it kind of sucks. Like I know they play in Winnipeg. And no offense to Winnipeg, but it's Winnipeg.
Your market's smaller.
Yeah, right.
Like it's just obvious. You put a player like Ehlers on Vegas though, and his name is.
But that's what you said before.
Yeah.
And that's why again, like so many players have like left that team, right?
Yeah. Even Hellebuck,
they don't want to play there.
I don't even think Hellebuck gets the recognition he deserves. He's a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner in the last 4 years, and yeah, he's talked about as arguably one of the best in the league, but it's still arguable. But he's carried that team as good as they are, and as underrated as they are.
Yeah.
He's carried that team for years, man, years on years on years. Like he's been one of the most consistent goalies in the league, right?
For sure.
I don't even think he gets the recognition that he deserves. Okay. He allowed 6 and ended their unbeaten streak, but dude, the stuff that he just looks so calm in the net. Like you can't teach that. And what he's got, you can't teach.
Yeah. There's not many goalies like him with that prowess. Mm-hmm. And that's why you look at these young guys and you kind of see the ceiling they have. And that's why I kind of said, like, with the Swayman and Shesterkin's kind of looking for something crazy. But that's why I wouldn't mind paying these goalies a little bit more than we think they deserve. Mm-hmm. Just because what if he turns into that guy? And you have him at a young age. But anyways.
They're so important.
To kind of sum up the Winnipeg game.
It was good until it wasn't.
Yeah, we played good for most of the game. We again, and this has been a problem the whole year. We give up way too many penalties. Yeah. We got to watch the sticks.
It's because of the hockey that we're playing. Like we're obviously, right? Like we're playing more physical, more, hands-on. Like even yesterday, like there was a couple goals where they were talking, like I think it was the Nyes goal, where like give the puck up, you get the puck right back.
Yeah.
Right? Dump and chase. Like we were doing dump and chase with Keith every single game.
Yeah, we were doing dump and no chase with
Keith. There was no chase. There was no hustle. Now we're actually dumping and chasing, and because we're actually having a ferocious side, we'll say, or a more like, I don't know what the word is, but a more ferocious side to the game. Yeah, ferocious side.
Yeah.
We're getting those penalties because we haven't done it before, right?
We're playing more aggressive.
Yeah, we're playing more aggressive. So
we talked about this in another podcast.
I think it's the aggressiveness that gets us penalties.
It's definitely the aggressiveness, and we have those guys though that will get penalties like that. But like some penalties I understand. Yeah, we're a little bit more of an aggressive team now just because of the style of play. But some of them are also stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like some of them are very like you don't need to do that, right?
Yes. No, you're right in saying that. But also, before we touch on Nyes or move on, like, also, did you see that OEL hit yesterday on the Mesnikov?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. That was not a penalty,
Thank you.
but
That was such a clean hit, man. It's not like
I know he kind of hit him in the back, and it looked like he kind of hit him in the head. He didn't hit him in the head.
no. He
But
just hit him into
OEL
the boards.
OEL got also fined for using his ass to hit a guy, and he got fined for that in the Tampa game against was it Gensel or whoever it was.
I thought hip checks were a thing.
Yeah, you can't hit people anymore. You get a penalty apparently.
Nice.
No, okay. In
Nice.
real time, it looks worse than it is.
No, slow down. It looks worse than it is.
What?
The
The Nemestikov one?
yeah, slow down. It looks a lot worse
I
because you
don't
see him get hit and then hit his head in the boards. But you react
Yeah,
to
but
him
that's-
hitting his head on the boards.
But that's what I'm saying. I look at it like that, and okay, yeah, some people might find it worse, but I look at it, I'm like, well, he didn't hit him in the head.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a head injury. Hopefully you're okay. But EOL didn't do that to
Yeah.
you. You hit your head on the boards. Unfortunately, that happens in hockey. It's a clean hit. I know, again, he kind of hit him in the back, but that shouldn't be a penalty, in my opinion. But
no, I agree. I wanted to see what your take was because I don't think that was a penalty either.
you know what, though? I like
And they scored on that.
they did.
They scored on it.
EOL's game with his aggressive side has totally surprised me, which is a good thing. I never knew he was this is scroungy the word to use, or like we'll just use aggressive. I didn't know he
Yeah.
was this aggressive.
Scruffy.
Yeah, which I like because we need those guys. But yeah, no. I thought the hit was okay.
I really
know
did
again,
too.
like you said, you could make the argument, but I'm a Leafs fan and I'm biased, so I'm gonna say it wasn't a penalty.
I really don't think like okay, yeah, this is biased, but even like
No, even if I wasn't a Leafs fan, I
Yeah.
don't think I would call that a penalty. To be honest,
yeah, like I
don't
know,
know.
we had the same thing with the Pari thing with Line, right?
These
we
plays
could be
are gonna
seen
happen.
yeah, we could be seen as
Right?
biased Leaf fans, but like realistically, I think you take. I even think they said on the panel after the game, like that was not a penalty. That was just a great hit to see.
yeah,
Like,
no, it was
you
good.
see a guy get flipped, almost flipped, but like you know what I mean. Like, as you know, hope Nemestikov's okay. I hope there's no injury from it, but that was a clean hit, a very very good clean hit.
People gotta understand that that happens a lot, and especially if a guy is in the force of hitting you and you turn your back, what is that guy supposed to do?
Yeah.
You're on skates,
Yeah.
right? He's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to use this example, but I'm gonna use it because it's exactly the same thing. It's like roughing the passer in football.
Yeah.
If a big D lineman is in the animation of jumping on you
Yeah.
and you just get the ball out, he is still gonna hit you.
Yeah.
But that's a story for a different day. But yeah, plays like that are gonna happen. If you're gonna hit a guy and he turns your back to you, that's not your fault,
Yeah. No, honestly.
right?
And another stupid, I don't want to say stupid, but another non-penalty was, I want to say it was Kampf with the cross-check near the end. Because they scored on that one,
No,
too.
it's Holmberg.
Holmberg. That was a cross-check. That
Yeah,
was a cross-check.
but you know what?
But he also got cross-checked.
Yeah,
Where,
but sometimes it's gonna happen. It's just whatever one they see first, right?
but there was no way that all the refs saw one and not the other.
But you gotta
because
remember,
they
the
both
ref-
happened within, because with their hands up, they're still facing the play.
Yeah,
It's not
I
like
know.
they're like, oh, okay, the play's.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. If
I
they do
wouldn't be
that.
surprised either.
They go like this and they look up. They're looking at the.
All right,
crowd,
there's
say,
a penalty.
Hey, I actually called the penalty. I called
I
it.
did something.
You know what? Quickly,
Yeah.
Holmberg has kind of disappointed me these past couple of games. He hasn't played that well. And then when you take a guy like Robertson out of the lineup who hasn't been on the stat sheet a lot, but who has played better, in my opinion,
I agree.
than Holmberg. And I know, okay, fine, Holmberg's a center, right?
Mm.
But he didn't play center last game. He didn't play. Domi was
No,
the third
yeah,
line
no,
center,
you're right. Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I just don't like that.
Yeah.
Especially because you've seen this guy not play that great. And again, I like Holmberg. I'm not saying I don't like him. I like him. When he's playing good, he plays good. He's a solid third line player. Even fourth line if you want to put him there. But right now, you see a guy like Robertson who is literally working his ass off every game, Even if he's like Brube says it himself. He's like, this guy does everything except put up points.
Yeah.
Like he does everything I ask of him, but he just doesn't score or put up assists, and that will come.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But if he's in the press box, that isn't going to come.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's all I want to say about that.
Because we touched on it a couple weeks ago. Like, he could be a statement of that second power play unit.
You have another shot.
Yeah.
You have another, and I think we said this too.
Matthews-esque shot.
Yeah, you don't. How our power play works is we never have that guy that just sits in the spot and just stays there like Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Like I'm not comparing them at all, but I'm just saying Robertson could be, or even Nylander. But we're talking about Robertson right now.
Yeah.
Robertson can literally sit in that spot, stay there, uncovered.
Yeah.
EUO passes him the puck. Nylander passes him the puck. Whoever passes him the puck, one timer or a quick release, there's gonna be goals coming out of that.
100%.
That's what I think.
And even if it's not him scoring, it's him, getting the assist because goalie made a save, rebound.
His shot is too hard. It will either find ways to squeak in or cause rebounds because the goalie is gonna have trouble with it. But
no, I fully agree with you. The power play hopefully will start coming soon I hope with this new switch,
please,
it sparks something. And honestly, like Robertson back when he's back, you take off McMahon. You take McMahon off that second power play. You kind of have to.
I think you might even take him out of the lineup. To be
McMahon?
honest, yeah, because if Berube is so hard on keeping, like I think he took Holmberg out a game, but if he's so hard on keeping Holmberg in and keeping the rest of the guys in, McMahon right now has been disappointing the most for me right now.
Yeah.
Like he literally has just skated around the ice and done nothing.
Yeah.
He hasn't even made like bad plays. He just absolutely like literally does nothing.
Yeah, he just looks like he's there for fun.
Yeah, like sometimes he'll skate up the ice. Like he had a couple of good plays where he outskated a couple of guys, but he does nothing. Like he does nothing.
Yeah.
I know I'm being like a D1 hater right now, but like it's just I hate because I have a soft spot for Robertson. You know that. I hate seeing Robertson sit out when I know he could contribute.
Yeah.
Maybe off the score sheet, but still contribute. And you have a guy like McMahon who just skates around the ice for 60 minutes.
You know what?
Seriously.
The closest comparison to a player like McMahon on our team in terms of size and what they can do is Pacioretty. And I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me, I would take Pacioretty 100 times out of 100. So,
yeah, me too.
As much as I maybe don't think we should get him out of the lineup, I think out of everybody, he maybe deserves to be dropped. I think that's kind of fair.
Like for fair, you can say, oh yeah, whatever. Let Reeves sit out a game, or he's taken out Kampf. You can put Holmberg as the fourth line center, and just put Robertson up on the third line.
Yeah.
Sure, but that's I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Right?
Well, then who's that winger for that third line then?
No, then it would be
because it would be Domi, Robertson, and because you're not taking
Youngkroak. No, I'm who
Youngkroak.
actually they're coming back soon. Like even Hakanpää's probably going to be back soon. But wait, I'm forgetting who would be on that third line.
It would have to be McMahon or Holmberg. Or Youngkroak.
Oh no. Sorry. If you take McMahon out, Holmberg would stay on the third, and then Kemp would be your fourth line center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
true,
So you would do that.
What game was it that he played? Maybe it was the Tampa game. Because you talked about Hakanpää. No, you talked about Hakanpää, and it sparked my mind about our injury list. Philip Myers played.
He did play, and he actually played good. I think it was that Tampa game.
Yeah, like he had a solid
Played
game.
good.
And I'm not.
He's a
Don't get me
great-
wrong. I'm not saying Timmins has played bad at all. Actually,
No,
Timmins has
not
actually
played-
surprised me a lot this year.
Timmins has played good for the role that he needs to play. He's played solid. He's
Yeah,
played
I haven't seen like mistakes that I'm like, oh my gosh, Liljegren 2.0, right? Like,
Yeah.
Liljegren was very. we're not gonna talk about this guy. But yeah, it was very obvious with him. But yeah, like Philip Myers had a really good game in my opinion. And if we have versatility, like I don't think Timmins has done enough to get taken out yet. But for example, like our lines is Riley, OEL, McCabe, Tanev, Benoit. I just said Timmins. Now, I would prefer left down left, right down right. Just that's the way the game's
Yeah,
played
yeah.
usually, right? So I would prefer that. And obviously, with Myers being available, that's another right-handed side. And then with Hakanpää coming back, right? So there's going to be a good switch in our defense, I think. And I do kind of want Myers to play. Like, he's 6'2", 6'3". Like,
he played solid.
he's a big
against
body.
a good,
And
good team, too, right?
He impressed, right?
Yeah, he did.
He did a job. So
did well.
I want to see him play. And I'm excited for Hakanpää to come back. I'm excited for our LTIRs to stop being LTIRs.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so finally, we're going to touch on Nyes because this guy's been killing it.
Lock his ass up.
Lock his
ass up.
5 goals in the last 6 games. Bro's got more goals than Matthews. The C's weighing Matthews down a little bit, but you know what? Nyes has come into second year, and he's showing his form, his class. He's doing what we need him to do. Like, he's playing very, very well. And that, as much as we saw it last year with Matthews and Marner, we're like, oh, this is going to be a good line. This is a good line.
It's a good line.
And
they're not even playing at their best.
Yeah, they're really not.
Like, Matthews and Marner are not playing at their best right now.
Absolutely. Especially Matthews.
Yeah.
He's playing good. Don't get me wrong. Just it's like Robertson's situation.
It's
Like,
just
the
not
goal's
going in for him
coming.
right now, right?
Like, he's hit the post. He's hit.
Yeah.
I was watching him yesterday take warm-ups, and it was just the first shot that they showed of him, and it hit the post. And I'm like, of course he hit the post.
He has some bad luck right now.
Yeah, like, it's just not going in right now. But I like what Nyes is bringing, man. And I'm getting scared in terms of I want him locked up, but now the money situation.
And that's the whole thing. You have to lock him up now because going off what he's had so far, and again, it takes 2 to tango, right? So Nyes is gonna want a contract extension too with his agent, right? If he says no, I want to wait because I think I'm gonna score 30 next year or 40 next year. Hopefully he does, but hopefully he's locked up by that point, right? Guy got 6 points in 10 games. He's got 5 goals, right? He's done exactly what type of player he is. Big body, power forward, clean up the garbage in front.
Yeah.
That's how he's going to score goals. But again, like we said, he doesn't need to score the flashy goals, which he can do, by the way, because he did it last year. I know he only got 35 points last year and only scored 15 goals. But the guy played college hockey before last year. It was a big jump for him. He even said it himself. The workload is way harder. Everyone had high expectations for him. I said that in probably the first podcast. I knew he was going to have a season like that. But now that he's used to it, now that he's built up more muscle, that guy's huge. Like, that guy's laying down Dougie Hamilton just because. Just because. He just skates into him. Like, I remember there was a play yesterday where the guy's he's literally just skating. Not even hitting guys. And guys are just bouncing off of him. He's insane, dude. And that's the thing. You need to lock a guy like this up early because this could be another situation where where the Nylander thing comes into place or the Marner thing. Yeah. Don't do what you did with the other 3. Get this guy, say, hey, we think you're gonna be an amazing player. Yeah. Right? Take 4 for whatever, 5, 6 years. Or even the 8. Give him 8 years. And then you have Nyes who could potentially have a really good season this year and keep having good. The guy's only 22.
Yeah, he's so young.
Only 22.
He's so young. It's my age, dude. What am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true, right? But if he can be like that Hyman for that line, just Marner Matthews flip the puck in.
Yeah.
He goes and gets it, bangs off everybody, gets the puck, puts in front of the net. One of them scored, the vice versa.
Yeah.
He's gonna end up scoring 25, 30 goals.
Oh yeah.
Right?
He could
easily,
so easily,
man.
Obviously, kind of depending on the Matthews and Marner play around him, but he could. If Matthews and Marner are at their best the rest of this season, I wouldn't be surprised if Nyes finishes with like 65, 70 points.
That's what I was going to say. Around 60 points.
Yeah, like
which is
60
fine.
to 70 points I would be more than okay with. Like, more than okay
because
with.
He's definitely going to be, like we said, he's going to be that garbage goal scorer, right? Just clean up the stuff in front of the net. Yeah, he can get assists. He's not really a playmaker. He's just a typical power forward. Just drive the net, finish the garbage in front, hit anybody, or not even hit anybody. Just he doesn't need to hit anybody.
Yeah,
he hits people just because he's a linebacker on skates, right? No,
he's really impressed me.
Yeah, you need to get this guy locked up early.
What are we thinking money wise? Because
I'm gonna say right now.
Obviously,
it's still early. 4.5 my max.
4.5 is your max?
4.5 my max.
I heard some people talking 5.5, and like 5.5 is, I love Nyes. 5.5 is too much.
5.5, you need to prove more to me.
Yeah.
If he has a good season this year, if he gets to 60 points, if he scores 30 goals, I would have no problem giving him 5.5.
Yeah.
But you need to prove it to me first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So right now, I think 4 million, 4.5 is fine. Because I look 5.5 is what you gave Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
Right?
I think anything more than 5, unless he scores 50, right? Anything, even
Well, then he's gonna ask
if he
for-
scores 40, even still he'll ask for more. But anything more than 5, I don't think will happen because
As of right now, yes.
Yeah, because he's young. He's not he didn't have the best season last year, right?
No,
It
he
was
didn't have the best season at all. For a college rookie, it was okay.
Yeah, it was an okay. So he was in
But-
what, 6th in rookie voting, something like that, maybe more. I don't even
remember.
know.
I
It
don't
wasn't.
remember.
He had a solid season, right? He
Yeah.
was a player that you could look and be like, okay, you got potential. You're gonna grow, right? This season, he's coming out and he's blasting it right now. If he continues to do that, okay. But then again, it also goes back to what I said about Swayman. He's so young that he could bust next year. He could bust. Pause. But he could. he could fail by mid-season. You know what I mean?
And that's
You
the
don't
whole thing.
Knock on wood. I
yeah.
hope he doesn't. But it's another possibility, like I said. So anything more than 5, I can't.
You know,
really-
that's the con about giving early contracts out, right?
like I do it in NHL all the time.
Yeah, right.
You know, I get Dylan Gunther and I sign him to an 8-year
But that's the whole
deal, but-
thing. You give these guys money early, and then they turn out to be not as good as what you're paying them,
Yeah.
even if it is 5 million, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think so. But if you give Nyes 5,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy turns into the biggest bust we've ever had, then you're like, oh, I guess we have this guy on contract for 8 more years at 5 million.
Yeah.
So right. So, but there's pros and cons to it because then if he does play better than his contract at 4 million, you're like, this is the best contract in the league, right?
Yeah.
It's the same like Hyman. Hyman, the sign and trade, what did he get? 5.5? 5.5
so.
or
Yeah, I
something
believe
around
so.
there. Guy scored 50 goals.
Yeah.
And I know he hasn't put up a. But actually, I don't know about now, but for the first 7 games, he didn't get.
Oh
a point.
yeah, I was talking about that 50-goal season with my dad. Like that was a one-off. That's not gonna happen again.
He's still gonna score a lot just because
Yeah, well, I'm
he's
not
that
knocking
type
him.
of garbage, like scorer.
Yeah, he cleans up.
Yeah, right. So
I'm not
he's gonna
knocking
score
him, by the
goals,
way.
but 50 is hard to be consistent with when you're that type of scorer.
Yeah, Hyman's a
Unless you're
great player, but
Yeah.
that was a one-off. He maybe get 40 again, but he's also 31, right? Like he's gonna regress.
But again, at the end of the day, right now, that is probably one of the best contracts in the NHL, right?
Oh yeah.
The best is Anthony Stolarz. No, he one of them, but no, Hyman. If Nyes can be our Hyman, then yeah, give him that amount.
Yeah. Well, that's
Right.
the thing, right? If Hyman's on 5.5, I can't give Nyes more than 5.
Yeah, I think he's a player you can look at to kind of base the contract on. It's like you're kind of in the similar role. You play with Marner and Matthews, which Hyman played with Marner and Matthews.
But he didn't score 50 with Marner and Matthews. I mean, he scored 50 with McDavid, but still.
Exactly,
Like,
but he still played good.
yeah. He was very influential in that run.
But yeah, at the end of the day,
Well, touched
I'll
on
give it
Nyes. Just quickly before we end everything, McDavid did get injured yesterday.
yeah,
I'm trying to find how it says it's a lower body injury, which I was watching and happened early in the first period.
actually they got smoked by Columbus too.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
they
got
allowed
smoked.
6.
They got smoked. Yeah.
But yeah, it happened early in the first period. He got up, he looked okay, and then he started being very gingerly on it. And now they're saying it's a lower body injury, and they don't know really how long he's going to be out for. I hope he's okay because
Yeah, for real.
my gosh, that guy, when you watch him, there's no player like him, dude. There will never be another player like McDavid. This guy's got everything. So
We'll be a Leaf sooner or later, sooner rather than later.
2030. I'm calling it now. But yeah, no, I hope he's okay because I really want to see him continue to play.
Yeah, you never want to see injuries, especially when it's a player like that. An injury is an injury, no matter if you're the best player in the league or a guy just starting out.
Yeah.
Or shit player in the league. Pardon my language, but injuries are injuries. You never want to see it happen to players, but when it happens to people like McDavid, you hope it's not long term, and you hope they come back stronger than ever, right? So
Especially that it's a lower body injury.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't affect because, bro, this guy's so fast.
yeah, the skating ability, yeah.
Without that skating ability, I'm not saying he's nothing, but without that
no.
skating ability,
Yeah, of course.
McDavid is not he's not even, I don't even know if he's 80% of the player that
Yeah.
he is. If he can't skate the way that he does, there's a lot of plays that he will not be able to make the same.
Yeah.
Right? He might find ways to now adapt to the situation, whatever, but for Connor McDavid, he needs that speed, and I really just hope
for
this
real.
doesn't. As much as you can score against us, play the best of your life against us, I really don't want to see him injured, and I hope he comes back. I hope everything's
true.
okay.
It's
But
true.
you have anything else you'd like to touch on? I think that's everything. We've got Phil and Dougie G. Thank you for
Dougie G.
coming on the podcast, hopefully. But yeah, that's been episode 6 now of the Leaf the Lights On podcast with your host, Nicholas Prenchpe.
And Luca Tersini.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Leaf the Lights On, at LTLO Podcast. Follow me on Instagram at _NP2904.
And me at Luca Luca.Tersini_7, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, follow us
Yeah.
on Instagram. Make sure you hit the like button, click subscribe,
Hit it.
and
Slam it.
hopefully,
Smash
without
it.
barring any injuries, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Take it easy.